So, let me kind of create this story for you of my life on the more professional career side. Okay, so I want to say around 2017, I graduated from high school, and then I decided to go to a university. I was on a university for scholarship, lost the scholarship due to receiving a car around that same time, and was going crazy and just having all types of fun. Um, and then fast forward a little bit more, the pandemic began, and I was originally a biology major, but then I decided to take a break. And then around 2023, 2023, I decided to go back to school. And I changed majors is because I was like, I do want to secure some type of degree. My GPA was already a little bit shaky since I left, and I wanted to make sure that I at least improve it with the knowing of it's going to be improved, you know? Um, so then I decided to switch to human resources and development, business management, and business administration. I feel like it has so many titles. Um, in 2023, and then after one, two, four, about 5 semesters, which is equivalent to two years. Yeah, 2 years. 2 years, because oh, you know what? 2, 4, 6. Oh, actually, it was a lot of semesters. Okay, but fast forward, um, 2025 of December is when I graduated, and now being in 2026 of July, I've done all of that, and I've done some additional things on the side just to provide me with some additional security. And I want to inform you the ways that had helped me to get to where I was going. So I'm going to inform you the rules of success. And I'm not saying that this is going to get you $1 million, because I don't have $1 million. I'm going to be honest with you. But these are the things that have really prepared me and excited me again about living, about life, about investing into myself and receiving that security and that outcome that I was looking for. Okay. First thing first, journal. Journal or voice notes or something. You need something that shows the history that you are creating. The things that you are doing are historic. I hate when we get in this battlefield where we like, oh, I'm not Christopher Columbus. I'm not Barack Obama. I'm not MLK. I'm not Rosa Parks. I'm not uh Beyonce. You are always making history. If you decide to live and progress and grow, you are still creating history. I'm gonna need for you to get out of that headspace of like, oh no, um, I see because this was my biggest problem. I was always trying to get onto the next wave, and when I say the next wave, I'm talking about making very irrational decisions, such as taking a job that I know is not going to push me further, but I know that I have outstanding balances. I have bills that are calling my name. you know, in order to push yourself further, you have to get out of this idea that you're not historic, that you do not have anything to contribute, that you do not have ideas and goals and aspects of yourself that are not important, because that is a lie. You are very important. And I'm not saying this in a corny, love yourself way, because God don't care. But I'm just saying this is because it was so true. It was so true. But and my learning was the errors that I had came across. I don't want you to make errors to realize that. It's not required on your journey, okay? So, the first thing is to journal because you are creating historic moments. Someone will literally look at your books or your voice memos or your something and be like, "Hey, can you show me where you felt down and you didn't feel like doing it?" And you're like, "Oh, I remember this day vividly, December 12th, 2026." You want to make sure that you always have that information on your hand, in your hands, because it's just the access of development and the access of growth is all within your hands. So then when you reach that the highest of highs, you can be like, oh yes, I know this date. I remember this date vividly. December the 26th, 2080, when I became the first billionaire, blah, 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 you want to make sure that you have all these things and that they're tangible. So please continue to journal. Please continue to journal, voice memo, something like that, because baby, you're historic. That's number one. Number two, have a game plan. Have a game plan. When I tell you, when you think about your most expensive expenses, think about ways to make it cheaper. Listen, when you think about your most expensive expenses, think about a way to make it cheaper. For some people, that's your rent. How can you make your rent cheaper? I decided to work for a leasing company, right? And by the time I started working there, my lease was about to be up. So after 6 months of working at this place, you can go ahead and start a new lease with them, and it's going to have a 20% discount. We saved some money when we did that. Do you hear me? We saved some money when we did that. Okay? So make sure you find a way to lower some of the most important expenses that you have. What's another important? I feel like a car note. A car note is expensive as well. But let's say, for example, I don't know if they have some type of deal. Um, but let's say, for example, you're about to almost pay off your car or you still got a balance or something like that. Let's say you decide to do a trade in on your car. Do a trade in on your car. I've done that before where I still had some money left over, but it was still in good condition and they took advantage of the situation. Okay. Okay. But since you're an employee, you might get discounted car note, you might get discounted insurance. The avenues are endless if you think about how can I reduce one of the most important expenses in my life. I'm 27, okay? I may look older. I'm 27, but I remember when I was about 23, 24, and I was like, I'm getting tired of paying Peter to pay Paul. I don't have any money for food. I don't have any money for gas. I don't have any money for interactions to live my life a little bit. I don't have any money. But that really helped me save a lot of money because I'm saving a lot of money on my necessities, my rent. Some people could say it's gas. If you travel a lot, how can we reduce that? Work at a gas station, get a little part-time job. Okay. Some people who are low on groceries and they got a big family. Steve, you can work at a grocery store that's in a centralized area, somewhere that's near possibly your kids, your family, stuff like that. Working at a Sam's Club, working at a Dollar General, working at a Dollar Tree. The avenues are endless. The avenues are endless. Okay. So that's another thing. Have a game plan by reducing your expenses as much as you possibly can. What's another thing? Being very mindful. Okay. The reason why I say being very mindful is because you have to be aware of what you did to get here. Okay. And it's the hardest part. And it's the scariest part. And it's the part that will make you feel embarrassed. But these are your thoughts reflecting on you. Everything that you're going through is not embarrassing. Okay. It's not. It's not, because you're going to turn it around and you're going to allow it to work in your favor. So even though it's embarrassing in this moment, that is not the whole grand scheme of you going through it. Just for it to be an embarrassing experience, I don't think that's how that works. That was not the intent. It was for you to learn, for you to inform somebody else. Hey, this can be worked a little bit better if you decide to do these things. Okay. So you have to be extremely self aware of what you did to contribute into where you are now, because it can either make your situation better or it can deliver a, a worse, opportunity or a worse situation, because for example, one thing about me, the reason why I didn't have no money is because I stayed eating out. I love eating out. Like eating out just feels so exclusive to me. Even if it's at McDonald's, I love to eat out. But then it got to a point where I was like, you know what? I don't have, I'm losing too much money. Half of my check, or 75, 80, 90% of my check is literally going just for food. Okay. And it's not benefiting me is because these are not healthy options. Okay. So when you think about, you know, your sense of awareness, you're like, this is providing me with more weight that I do not want. This is forcing me to live in circumstances where I can't do much. This is one of the most expensive things that I'm spending money on. And you come to the conclusion like, hey, this ain't working for me. And then you think about ways to switch it up. For me personally, I still eat out a lot, but if there's always a good deal at one of my favorite restaurants where you can get 2 meals for like $30, and for some people they can eat that all in one day, I can't. So I break it in like the first day, the second day. If you're lucky, it can go to the third day. It's very rare, but it can go to the third day. And that self awareness really helps you kind of break down how this can benefit you in the long run. So always be mindful of that. So make sure that you're most self aware. What's another thing? Be comfortable and not having an audience. When you're struggling and you're trying to figure things out because there's not no rule book, Ned's Declassified book did not help. High school didn't help on life either. Okay, maybe it did if I was paying attention. Um, but the reason why I say, when you're doing this journey alone, that's when you need to focus on yourself and your health and how you can improve your health and benefit yourself extremely well. And sometimes it's just by, you know, feeling how it feels to be at the bottom and knowing where you want to be and knowing how to shoot for the top. And all of this is a part of the game plan, because if you want to get to where you're going, you have to be aware of where you were to know where you were going. And you have to be comfortable with the fact that this may happen again, but I'll make sure that I'll have something in place to, better assist me in the future. So, for example, I was always running out of money, but I remember somebody told me about earning. So I decided to do earning, and earning, whenever my check was short or I wasn't getting enough hours, I would go ahead and get earning. They'll give me a little bit of money to hold on the next time. Also, possible finance. These are loans that are going to be breaking down into 4 payments. But I don't want you to use these as like, oh, I need these. If you don't need these, you don't need these. But it's something to kind of hold you over to the next destination. What's another thing? And you have to have, lastly, you have to have that drive. And what does that drive look like? That drive is always betting on yourself because you know that you will not let yourself down. And in betting on yourself, you're always putting yourself in predicaments and circumstances that will push you further to where you want to be. And hopefully that information helped. I understand it's kind of short, but I think with me, I just like to get to the point, especially when it's on my heart. So, yeah, hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Bye. So I play the game 'cause it pays me. I said